Now that we've examined Singapore's highly structured approach to immigration, let's shift our focus to the United States. Immigration has played a fundamental role in shaping the country, but today the system faces numerous challenges. There are persistent issues with illegal migration, an outdated green card allocation process, and policies that do not always serve the country's long-term economic interests. While the US remains a highly desirable destination, its immigration policies could benefit from modernization and reform. This discussion will highlight some of the areas where improvements could be made. The United States has a large undocumented population, largely because there are very few legal avenues for low-skilled workers to enter the country. Many industries, such as agriculture, construction, and domestic services, face significant labor shortages. Yet there are no permanent work visa programs tailored to these sectors. This mismatch between labor demand and legal migration channels has contributed to unauthorized crossings and informal employment. Countries like Singapore and the Gulf states, such as the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, have built highly structured temporary labor migration systems. These programs allow businesses to hire foreign workers for essential jobs without creating pathways to permanent residency. The benefits of such a system are clear. Labor shortages are filled, illegal migration remains low, and the risk of crime and social unrest associated with large undocumented populations is minimized. Any low-skilled work visas should be strictly temporary and not lead to permanent residency or citizenship. These programs should allow workers to meet labor demands but ensure they return to their home countries after their employment period ends. Eligibility should be limited to nationals from countries with low asylum claim rates, such as the Philippines, Argentina, Turkey, and Brazil. This would prevent the misuse of visa programs by individuals attempting to claim asylum upon arrival. A structured permit system with employer accountability would ensure compliance, fair wages, and prevent unauthorized hiring. As a signatory to the 1951 Refugee Convention and its 1967 Protocol, the United States is legally bound by the principle of non-refoulement, which prevents returning asylum seekers to countries where they may face persecution. This means that once someone applies for asylum in the US, authorities must process their claim before considering deportation. To prevent economic migration from being misclassified as asylum seeking, it is crucial to restrict low-skilled work visas to nationals from countries that are unlikely to qualify for refugee status. By implementing a system similar to Singapore's and the Gulf states, the US could meet its labor needs without incentivizing illegal arrivals, undocumented work, or long-term social challenges. The US is one of the few developed countries that grants automatic citizenship to all individuals born on its soil, regardless of their parents' immigration status. While this policy was historically rooted in inclusion, it has also led to unintended consequences, such as birth tourism and long-term chain migration through family sponsorship. Birthright citizenship was established in the 1800s at a time when global travel was extremely limited. The intent was to ensure citizenship rights for freed slaves following the Civil War, not to accommodate modern birth tourism, where individuals can now travel across the world specifically to give birth in another country. Many developed countries, including Canada and most of Europe, have modified their birthright citizenship policies to ensure citizenship is granted based on legal status rather than just location of birth. Adjusting this policy would reduce incentives for temporary visitors and unauthorized migrants to seek citizenship through birth tourism. A citizenship policy that aligns with legal residency would maintain fairness while preventing potential system loopholes. The US immigration system prioritizes family sponsorship over skills-based migration, allowing citizens and green card holders to sponsor a wide range of relatives, including parents, adult children, and siblings. This process often results in a continuous chain of migration, where one individual's immigration status gradually extends to extended family members. Over time, this has led to large-scale migration patterns that may not always align with the country's economic needs. Restricting family sponsorship to spouses and minor children would help align the immigration system with economic priorities. Limiting sponsorship categories for extended family members would allow for a greater allocation of green cards to skilled workers who contribute directly to the economy. A clear example of how chain migration impacts immigration patterns can be seen in Guyana. A child born in the US to Guyanese parents can later sponsor them for green cards. Then the parents sponsor their siblings. Those siblings then sponsor their spouses, and before long, entire villages relocate through the family sponsorship system. In fact, today, 1 in 4 Guyanese people live in the United States, largely due to chain migration. In 2022, about 63% of all green cards issued were for family-based immigration, with 45% going to immediate relatives of US citizens, spouses, parents, and minor children. In contrast, employment-based immigration made up only 22% of all green cards, despite strong demand for skilled labor. This imbalance leads to frustrating and counterproductive outcomes. Take, for example, an Indian student who graduates from Harvard with a degree in computer science. He secures a job at a top US tech company but struggles to get an H-1B visa due to the lottery system. Even after years of contributing to the economy, he faces long wait times for permanent residency. Meanwhile, a distant relative of a US citizen from Guyana or Vietnam, who may not have any specialized skills, can obtain a green card relatively quickly through family sponsorship. This system does not prioritize the individuals who contribute the most to the economy, leading to a waste of high-skilled talent. Currently, the majority of green cards issued each year are allocated to family sponsorship, while a much smaller percentage goes to employment-based applicants. This structure often results in long wait times for highly skilled professionals, many of whom have studied, worked, and contributed to the US economy for years, but struggle to secure permanent residency. Meanwhile, individuals with fewer qualifications may enter through family sponsorship with fewer obstacles. Increasing the number of employment-based green cards would help the US retain global talent. Reforming the H-1B and employment-based green card process would ensure that highly skilled individuals who have already contributed to the economy can stay permanently. Shifting the balance towards skills-based immigration would align immigration policies with national interests. A merit-based approach would enable the US to remain a competitive destination for talent, while ensuring that immigration supports long-term economic growth. The current US immigration system faces challenges that stem from outdated policies, labor market imbalances, and a process that does not always prioritize economic needs. By modernizing work visa programs, reassessing birthright citizenship, refining family-based sponsorship, and expanding opportunities for skilled migration, the US can create a more structured and effective immigration framework. A balanced, merit-driven approach can help the US maintain its historical openness while fostering a more sustainable and beneficial immigration system for the future.